It's the first week that Trump is in the office and the markets have been bumping around. Trump has been buying Ethereum, but what is next for the markets and what can we see coming from Trump in the upcoming period? Let's get started.
Hey, as you know, I'm a huge football fan, and our sponsor OKX is currently running a promotion with Manchester City. If you create a new account and you deposit €1,000 and you keep it on there for 7 days, you get one of those shirts for free at your home. And on top of that, you might be able to win a 2-person VIP all paid experience to go to Manchester City Chelsea. Make sure to get that account and maybe we'll see each other at the Manchester City game.
Earlier in the week, we saw that Trump came into the office. Probably you've seen the memes as well. I've seen them too. Trump dancing around, Elon Musk dancing around. I think you can question whether this is good or bad for the world or for the economy in the US or for us. I think for European people it's not going to be great given the fact that we're going to have tariffs. But at least we're going to have fun again. And it's going to be a very volatile period and probably a very bullish period when it comes to crypto, as he has been making a lot of promises when it comes to Bitcoin, the strategic reserve and everything that he wanted to do, which he stated during Bitcoin conference in Nashville. And actually, he's just pulling it through. In the first week, we've had multiple events taking place or actions that shows that he's actually very bullish about crypto. And it's still undefined what we can make out of that, what his agenda is with crypto. But it looks promising for investors in the Web3 space and also builders to see that we finally have someone in the White House pushing crypto forward. And I think that's what we wanted to see. That's why we are also in the .com bubble of crypto. So the first thing that I saw on the internet, it's not in the actual dates by event, but it's just the important events that are taking place. So the first thing is we've got a Senate committee, which is with Senator Lummis, Cynthia Lummis, by the way. She is the head of the committee, which is technically a pro-crypto committee that is going to explore digital assets and how that can be integrated alongside something else. But this is technically created to have the opportunity for a Bitcoin strategic reserve to be applicable for the US. As in, Trump can say that he wants a Bitcoin strategic reserve, but it's not as easy because we need to create a regulatory framework where he can actually build up the Bitcoin stack that he wants. I think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time when. He also had a call with Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, probably to discuss what he has been doing to actually get this going through. But I think El Salvador and the US are kind of different. But the second thing is that he is also assigned a crypto task force, or the SEC did that, which is going to assist and build a regulatory framework for crypto in general, which is led by Piers. Piers has been very positive on crypto in the past 5 to 6 years. I think she was one of the first ones being super positive about crypto. And I think this is a U-turn from the SEC, which has been very declining on crypto and actually banning most of the things in crypto. And now we are just doing a 180 to get the adoption going, which I think is super positive. The best thing is one of the OGs, Ross Ulbricht, is free. The creator of Silk Road, which was designed to just be a Bitcoin marketplace, to buy and sell assets, just regular items on the internet while paying with Bitcoin, because there was no option on the internet to use Bitcoin. And that was taken in advantage by people that wanted to sell drugs on the internet, kind of similar to Pump.fun or Tornado Cash, where the developer creates something really cool and then it is being used for wrong activities. And you always have an ethical question of, should the builder or developer actually be banned for this or put in jail in Ross, his case? He has served more than 10 years and he has received a pardon from Trump and is free, so that's great. We can expect a podcast with Joe Rogan, I assume. But then in terms of adoption, I think the most important one is that Donald Trump revokes SAB 121, which is huge. It is one of the regulatory framework items that the SEC has been pushing through in the past few years, which now means that banks can actually custody Bitcoin. So you can deposit your Bitcoin at a bank. And you can question whether you want that, but you can deposit it at a bank or any of your cryptocurrencies that you want and store it there or use it as a collateral to get a loan. And that is going to open up so much liquidity and opportunities in general with cryptocurrencies that I think we don't even know about yet. And I think it's going to be integrated as a regular asset into our financial system. So this is a super big one. Michael Saylor was tweeting about it himself. They are super bullish. Michael Saylor predicts that Bitcoin is going to 5 million. I think Brian Armstrong is also currently saying that it's going to be 1 million or more. It's super positive. I'm not sure whether we're going to see that. It's all depending on the dollar as well. But this item is super, super big and it's going to be even bigger in the coming few years. Then as well, we've seen the end of Operation Choke Point, which is technically just choking down crypto. That has ended and it's now a proactive, super positive new task force that's going to help crypto go further. There won't be any CBDCs. Trump has signed an order where he's not going to allow any CBDC to be created. That's also super positive, as in Europe, they're still debating on actually launching one. I think it's not really what we should be looking for as we have crypto already. So he signed that. And on top of that, Trump has been buying several cryptocurrencies with his World Liberty Finance. He has been buying 47 million in Bitcoin and ETH, and he has been buying 4.7 million into several assets on the day that he came into the White House. For instance, Tron as well. His largest position, though, is currently ETH, which is 190 million. And he has been staking most of that ETH and continues to be active in the markets when it comes to ETH. And if you look at SEB 121, which is technically also very important for DeFi or combining TradFi with DeFi, I think ETH is going to still have a great period going forward. And then the final one, which is also important for ETH, is the fact that we had some macroeconomic news. We had inflation, which is still very high. We have a strong economy. We have a strong labor market. And the rumors are that we're actually going to have rate hikes instead of rate cuts. But then Trump came around earlier this week where he said that he wants the interest rates to go down. And that is the exact opposite probably of what the markets need. Maybe it is what the markets need at this point. He needs them to go down to actually lower the debt payments of the US government. And when that is going to happen and the interest rates are going to go down, that's going to result into a very positive move on Ethereum, is what I expect. So what does this cocktail mean for the markets? Let's go through a few important charts and see what the impact has been with Trump being in the White House. In our last update, we discussed a few important altcoins that we were expecting to do well. But before we're going to discuss altcoins, we need to realize that to see and monitor whether our fundamental macroeconomic thesis is still applicable on the markets. And you do that by firstly starting to screen what the government bonds are doing. The government bonds have been collapsing in the previous months as the yield started to go up, so the underlying collateral goes down in value. And actually, since Trump came into the office, which is on Monday the 17th, the days before and the days that he came into the office, the yields started to fall. But there's no real actual move yet. I think that the real impact of the yields continuing to fall needs to happen when it drops beneath 4.5%. At this point, they are still very high. But when we look at the dollar, we can see that we actually peaked the week before Trump came into the office. And now we start to have some downwards momentum with a very strong bearish weekly candle, which suspects that we're changing the trend at this point. And it also suspects that based on this weekly, we are going to continue having downwards momentum. Probably 1 week of consolidation, and then we continue to fall in the weeks after, probably based on news items where Trump is confirming that he's going to lower the interest rates or that he's going to actually have the tariffs being in place. Probably those items are going to come out in the coming 1 to 2 weeks, resulting into the dollar to continue to fall. Now, if you look at the euro against the dollar, we can also see the exact same, where actually the monthly starts to look really, really good. So I'm not sure whether I would like to be long on the dollar, which then also means that you would like to be long on other assets. And in this case, congratulations, we've got a new all-time high for the S&P, which is continuing to push. The American indices are doing really well. The Nasdaq is also looking at a potential all-time high test here, as you can see. And then when we look at the markets, we can also see that we have the yields currently going down, and we start to have a minimal bounce taking place on ETH against Bitcoin. If we go towards the dollar, finally breaking the structure has led towards momentum of Ethereum against Bitcoin to change a little. Of course, it's not confirmed at all, but there's at least some momentum in Ethereum against Bitcoin at this point, which shows or could be due to the revoke of SEB 121. It could be due to Trump buying actual Ethereum, or it could be due to the fact that he said that the interest rates are going to go down, which all could be a positive push into Ethereum at this point. And when we look at Ethereum against Bitcoin alone, then we need to look at the 3-day. The daily can also be done. But if we look at the 3-day, we can see that we have a massive bullish divergence being in place here, which should be leading into a reversal. If the price continues to fall and the indicator starts to crawl up, there is one of the two that is wrong. And in this case, I thought earlier that the price was already going to break upwards, as we could see here in November, which was after he won. I think that we had a very destructive December and January taking place. And the fact that we are currently having him in the office shows that with this bullish divergence that there is a very likely chance that Ethereum is going to show strength. But in that case, we need to break through 0.034 in order to actually have momentum. Now, if you look at Bitcoin, then we can technically say that Bitcoin is having a lot of momentum here. It's quite a volatile week where a lot of repricing is constantly taking place. As you can see, we have been bouncing between 100 to 110 basically daily, which is unusual for Bitcoin, and it's just a question of where the trend is going to lead us. And if we're going to break south, in this case we're breaking beneath these lows and go towards the ideal zone for entries, which is beneath the levels of taking liquidity, I think that Ether against Bitcoin is actually going to go up, and that's something that we need to monitor. The second thing, if we break upwards and Bitcoin goes to 120, 130k based on the Bitcoin strategic reserve or any of the other news, it's also important to monitor ETH against Bitcoin. If that continues to have a more positive impact on a daily basis, then we are in the momentum where altcoins are going to do well. And given the fact that Trump has mostly been buying ETH, it's very reasonable to suggest that Ethereum is going to have a run. We don't know what his agenda is, but I think betting on him makes a lot of sense. Now, there are two categories that I would like to discuss with you, which is the first one. It's the American coins, or the SEC coins, I would say. We had XRP basically running from 50 cents towards $3 in November, corrected back down. We marked this level as an interesting zone to enter, and we have another run up. The question here is this still a reasonable play to go for? And I think that if XRP just went 6.5x, it can still go to $10 or more. But I think that there are better opportunities at this point because XRP is such a crowded trade. I would go for XRP if it has another 30% correction here. So if it goes back to $2.50 to 220, that will be a region where I start to step in. And basically the same can be said on most of these very straightforward SEC coins. Algo, Hedera, all of them have seen a tremendous move. And it's likely that that will continue, but I don't believe that's going to be such a big move that we can expect a lot from that. But what we can expect is that Aave and Chainlink are going to continue. If you look at Aave basically didn't really test the all-time high yet. It has seen its first upwards move, has seen a neutral correction. And if you look at Aave against Bitcoin, you can technically see that we're just breaking out of the accumulation range, signaling that there's a lot of upside to come. And that is the same for Chainlink. Chainlink is currently just starting to break upwards. It flipped a level. It is uptrending, as you can see with the Bitcoin pair here. And that marks a new green area of upwards momentum for at least 6 to 7 months, where also Chainlink against USD has flipped an important resistance level for support. And I think that these coins are super important to monitor. And secondly, I think that everything in AI and in the ETH ecosystem remains to be interesting for the coming period. So we're going to focus on that in the upcoming updates. Thank you very much for watching to this update. I'll be back on Thursday. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. There's a lot of cool content coming up. So I'll see you again on Thursday. Ciao!